Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Week 8 of the Altoona Mira High School Football Preview Show on YouTube, Facebook, and Public Access Channel 13. We're all back in the studio this week and ready for the stretch run of the season. We are back from vacation. Mike Boydum, Guru number one, rested and ready to get going again at it. Andy Stein's here. Dan Eisenberg's next to the camera. My name is Scott Franca. And we're going to go right into it because Mike's got a list of 7 games to talk about here. The first game we're going to talk about, Chambersburg 3-4 at Altoona 2-5. And the thing I want to know is, because I haven't made my picks yet, is who's Chambersburg's 3 wins over? Can Altoona beat this team?
Well, first of all, we every time we talk about Altoona, we say, what did this team do against Carlisle the week before? Because it seems like the Mid-Penn has set it up so teams play Carlisle and then play.
And Chambersburg played Carlisle this week.
Carlisle played against Chambersburg last week. So Carlisle only lost. Chambersburg only beat Carlisle 6-0.
And Carlisle's like 0-7, right?
Carlisle's 0-7, and they have gotten pretty much crushed in every game.
That's not bad for them.
So this is a good sign. And also, this is an interesting stat. It's not the stat of the week, but it's an interesting stat. We know that Altoona hasn't really had great seasons the last few years, but they have won 5 in a row against Chambersburg. Mm-hmm. So this is a game that they can win, but I will tell you, it's going to be interesting because so we saw against Harrisburg, we saw Mekhi Jackson take over as quarterback. He was actually picked as the player of the game offensively by Vince Niedermeyer. He threw a big pass to Cody Chatham, set up their only touchdown against Harrisburg, and he can run the ball. But it'll be interesting to see if we see Parker White again or what's going on with that. But that currently is the situation with Altoona, and we'll have to keep an eye on this season goes on.
What about the fact is that they played Saturday and now they're playing Friday? Does that change as far as
short week? And then that's tough for sure. Playing Saturday afternoon. I never liked playing on Saturday, period, and let alone Saturday afternoon. I don't think I ever played on Saturday afternoon in high school anyway.
How about the fact that they're coming off of I got to think they were beat up physically too, because Harrisburg still on like a loaded D. I got to think they have a loaded D1.
But that's interesting that the short week and everything that doesn't make anything all that much fun. But I did say I am 2-0 when I cover Altoona this year.
Are you covering them?
No. But I did say I said after the last win against CD East that I don't believe they're done. I do believe they're going to win at least 1 or 2 more games, and
they could beat this game. They could beat Carlisle. They could finish 4 and 6.
Another interesting tidbit about this game is I believe it's homecoming. I think Steve Tannehill's going to be there this week.
We're back in the late 80s when my brother John Coaster went to South Carolina. I'm curious do we know who's covering the game yet?
I think Jared Prugar possibly.
Let's see what Prugar's record is with. We didn't have you here last week because the next question I want to ask is Bishop Guilfoyle 6-1 at Forest Hills 6-1. Forest Hills' only loss is to Penn Cambria, and BG's only loss is to Richland. How good of a chance does Forest Hills? Because BG's just, they didn't run over Bellwood last week, but they still beat Bellwood.
Forest Hills might have rallied and beat Penn Cambria. I was thinking that they did. That was the game that they were winning. Penn Cambria was winning the whole way because I think that's Penn Cambria's only. I'm not thinking about it right now. But the BG Forest Hills, this is a huge game. And it's big for both teams because they're both like near the top of the rankings. And obviously with Forest Hills being 6-1, Penn Cambria is 6-1. And in 3A, that's still completely wide open up there at the top. Huntington finally lost last week, so they're off a peg, but for that number 1 seed, Forest Hills and Penn Cambria are right in the hunt for it. Obviously, BG is probably in control in 1A because even if they would lose a game or two, they have so many power points because they're playing teams that are higher than 1A that they're going to be fine to probably get that top seed in 1A. But these are the type of games that the Marauders take a lot of pride in. And last week it was interesting because Kissel had to play quarterback because Justin Wheeler's son, Justin Wheeler, he was sick, I believe, from reading the story. And just proving, man, how versatile is this Kissel kid? I mean, he seems like he can do everything.
And also with PG, I don't even think they're even afraid to play on the road because I still think of last year, the Penn Camry game at the end of the year was for the Laurel Highlands. That was on the road. I don't think Guilford really cares because.
And I don't think it should make a whole lot of a difference. I mean, yeah, you got to take a bus, you got to travel a little bit, and Forest Hills isn't the closest game in the world. Not after they were at Bellwood last week. That's right down the road. But but like Mike said, this is the games that you kind of play for. So yeah.
And you and I thought that Bellwood had a good. I mean, I said I predicted Bellwood to win because I thought, and I was told by people much smarter than me who coached that Bellwood Annis is just an unbelievable running team.
They are, yeah.
PG still.
I'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and just to clean up what earlier, Penn Cambria did end up losing that game to Forest Hills. Forest Hills and BG, they both lost to Richland. That's the loss.
Anyways, our next game we're talking about not losing. Hollidaysburg 7-0 at Selinsgrove 1-6. I did not realize the Seals were that bad. What do you know about Selinsgrove? And how does Hollidaysburg not fall into being complacent? Because I got to think they know this team is 1-6. Whereas in the past, the couple of times they played Selinsgrove, they've been really good.
Yeah. Homer said that Selinsgrove's dealing with some injuries right now. Also, the Hollidaysburg did handle them pretty well last year. The 2 years prior to that, Selinsgrove beat Hollidaysburg, but last year Hollidaysburg was able to beat them. I don't think sometimes a team might stumble over playing a team that's 1-6. If they're coached by James Franklin or something like that. But I think with being coached by Homer DeLatre, he's going to have them ready to play. And this team has just been so driven. I mean, okay, so to win the last 3 games against like state-ranked opponents, that's impressive. But to win the way they have been winning, just absolutely pounding these teams, I don't even think Homer could have seen this coming, especially with how many players they lost last year.
Yeah, and the guy who covered it for us last week's game over Jersey Shore hadn't lost like that in 6 years. They said the last time anybody beat them by double digits. I mean, even the game they lost this year was like 43-42. But the fact is that I know I had that on the radio, and I kept waiting for Jersey Shore to do something.
Yeah.
And Hollidaysburg, I mean, the expectations now for Hollidaysburg, those kids got to think.
And I don't know, like, if you guys struggled to pick that game last week. I know I did. I really wasn't sure, but to hear the games. I was at Penns Valley last week, but just to hear the score at halftime, I think it was, I don't even remember what it was, but it was a blowout already, and I was just like, really? Like, I did not see that coming at all.
And just a note, Jersey Shore played Selinsgrove this year, and they beat Selinsgrove 49-6.
So that's amazing.
Good luck to the Fighting Fish Vine.
Maybe Hollidaysburg will have get a long trip there, and they'll get off the bus, and maybe it'll be close in the first quarter, and then the Hollidaysburg kids will go, oh, wait a minute, it's over. Our next game we're talking about, the Golden Eagles, Tyrone 4-3 at Penn Cambria 6-1. Tyrone coming off of his upset win over Huntington. Who picked Tyrone last week? It was only one of us. One of us picked Tyrone. You also did pick Carolina Panthers to beat the Miami Dolphins. So you pick Penn State to lose to UCLA.
I had no faith in this team.
Yeah, and then but Penn Cambria now. Penn Cambria, I got to think is better than Huntington. What do you expect from this game?
Well, Coach Franco said Penn Cambria has a great line, but I'll tell you what, he was very happy with his line last week. He said they played the best they have. And Caleb Whitby had 30 carries for 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. Consider this. Alex McCartney, who has run over everybody this year, I don't believe he even had 100 yards rushing against Huntington. And Bellwood was held to 6 points. So this Huntington team was a team that could stop the run. And Tyrone was able to run against them. So maybe something clicked for Tyrone. Coach Franco said that they have some seniors that are leaders on that line, and they see that this is week 8 now. This is week 8. We only have week 8, 9, 10. That's it. I mean, and for Tyrone, it could be it because Phillipsburg's right there at 4-3 along with them, and that's for the last playoff spot. So if Tyrone doesn't take care of business, that Week 10 game could be their last game of this season and these kids' careers. And I think that's coming into focus for them. And maybe that's picked up their level of play a little bit.
Can an offensive line literally just take that long to finally click? I just, especially because they're because it's like he said, how do you explain them doing to Huntington what other teams? And I can't imagine Huntington went 3-3 Tyrone. We're going to win this game.
Yeah, it can take some time for sure. I don't expect say a sophomore offensive lineman starting his first game. I don't expect him to be, to break to move the world basically. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't expect him to do that in their first game. So it might take, a couple years or so to really get the hang of it.
How much this game was at Tyrone, this game's at Penn Cambria.
It's at Penn Cambria. And I'll say this about Penn Cambria is they have so many different weapons. Like every week when you put the Penn Cambria story in the paper, it's like, whose mugshot are we running this week? It's a different guy. Lily, Brady Jones. They have so many different skill players, and these kids were around whenever they were going to the state semifinals last year, and they want their opportunity, and it's kind of like they have built off of that, and this program is just really heading in the right direction. They haven't skipped a beat this year.
I don't know how you were, but I know Jason Grassi, and I like him very much, but I was wondering how's he going to do, because if they had that success last year, Felix leaves, and you have a lot of new people, though. I know the English kid played a lot last year, and Lilly, I believe, played.
Yeah, he was defense.
I mean, kudos to him for them being 6-1, and his return to the sideline.
I was talking to Dave Shannon about that, just last week, and he was calling Central Football, obviously, on the radio, and he said to me, "It's like, how about Penn Cambria?" And I said to him, they don't even have a Herald on their team this year to make it. You can't really explain it, but hey, they're all just spokes on the wheel at Penn Cambria, I guess.
Except for this week, I guess I can say I usually pick Penn Cambria. I usually do.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Last game here we're gonna look at before we do the quick hits. Cambria Heights 6-1 at Conemaugh Township 4-3. And Cambria Heights seems like they're just rolling over people. This is the good Conemaugh, because I always get Conemaugh Valley and Township mixed up, and Conemaugh Valley is falling on hard times. But Conemaugh Township 4-3. I mean, do they pose any kind of?
Well, they don't have Jeff Hostetler this year. He's not playing for them.
One of Mike's favorite Raiders. He had a little Jeff Hostetler Raider figurine between our desks.
Number 15. And also Bill Kibler, a big fan of Jeff Hostetler.
Yes, because he's Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Conemaugh Township is a team that has won. They won last week, I think 6-0. So they have a good defense. They're going to have to get off to a good start, I think, though, because Cambria Heights is just they had that hiccup in the second half against Marion Center, and I really think that this is a team that's on a mission. They know they can't lose again, especially if they want to win the Heritage Conference. They need Marion Center to lose 2 games, which probably isn't going to happen. But they also want to try to get high seed in that 2A field. And if you look at that 2A field, it is so jam packed right now.
Yeah.
Number 1's McCourt Carroll, who's 7-0, and then the next 5 teams are all 6-1. So Mount Union is 6-1, and they are currently, I think, the 6th seed. So I mean, you can't lose a game. You can't afford to slip up, or you're going to be on the road. Is
it an 18 field or a 12?
18.
Isn't Bellwood AA?
Yeah, Bellwood's AA. Right now, Bellwood is at number 7. So they would play at Marion Center right now.
And Bellwood's 3-4, huh?
Yeah, Bellwood's 3-4.
found that. So Cambria Heights, at least they have an edge. They have to keep, they don't sit there and go, oh, we're going to kill this.
But they don't want to be on the road.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Do you think coaches at Cambria Heights are using that as motivation?
I'm sure, and I'm sure it's motivation to you have 6 teams in Double A that are 6-1 or better. So I mean, to not be able to slip up a game like that, that's motivation enough to say, hey, if you want a home playoff game,
yeah, but you could be 8-2 and be on the road for something because of the way that district is set up this week. We're going to get to our quick hits, which we already mentioned here. This has to be the best 3-4 versus 3-4 game. Bellwood Annis at Chestnut Ridge. We talked about Bellwood Annis. Chestnut Ridge was in it with Penn Cambria last week at halftime. I think it was 7-7. And whenever the scores were coming in, Dan's going to come, but Dan was there. And I thought, oh my God, is Ridge going to maybe upset them? And then Penn Cambria got mad and then scored, 27 points second half. That's my mad theory. They always laugh, and I always think the team who's more mad wins. But Chestnut Ridge, this is going to be a hard game for Bellwood Annis.
Well, both teams are desperate. I mean, we just talked about how Bellwood. I mean, so Bellwood is right there at 7 seed, and then there's United Valley, and Bald Eagle area, and they're not all that far separated. So one of those 3 teams is not going to the playoffs, and United Valley plays in the Heritage Conference, so they're probably going to win some more games. Bald Eagle area has gotten hot lately, so they could. I mean, Bellwood.
Some trouble.
If Bellwood could go from being one of the favorites in the entire district to not making the playoffs if they don't take care of business. And Chestnut Ridge in District 5 is in the same position. They want to try to get a good spot, get positioning in the playoffs. And these are 2 teams that run the ball really well. So I would assume whoever's covering this game is in for a quick night.
8:30. It'll be everybody 8:30. Is Chestnut Ridge as simply as Max Shoemaker going to get? We're going to put 9 in the box, go ahead, throw the ball.
I think that's the best way to beat Bellwood. Yeah, to just stack the boxes as well as you can, and make them beat you with the pass. Just see what happens, because McCarty is a real beast.
And our other quick hit, Everett 6-1 at Tussey Mountain 4-3, which I don't know. I didn't think Tussey Mountain would be 4-3. They were losing that game to Northern Bedford, and hearts got out to Northern Bedford. They had a tough week last week, but they lost a coach, a teacher who had passed away, and then a kid in the school who was a football player. He had a form of cancer, and then they were leading that game over Tussey Mountain for a majority game, and then
Myers. This week they lost to Myers.
At least they did okay. But I just feel bad for them. But anyways, Tussey Mountain.
But they lost to Tussey Mountain the week before.
Yeah. Is Tussey Mountain, I mean, that's a surprise. Do you think they would be 4-3 at this point?
Well, what is most shocking about Tussey Mountain is that they have struggled against teams that, obviously Northern Bedford's struggling a little bit this year, and they barely won that game. But Tussey Mountain has beaten Wimber and Berlin Brothers now.
I 2 games. I know I didn't pick Tussey Mountain.
I wouldn't have picked Tussey to win either one of those games. But the other thing that's kind of shocking is Everett is 6-1. I mean, Everett could win the ICC South. I think I'll talk more about Everett later. That's a teaser. This game is like a shockingly big game. I think when you look at this at the beginning of the season, this game would have been just kind of brushed under but this is an interesting game between 2 District 5 teams.
And I know time I've been here back at the Mirror, it's been about 22 years. Everett, I'm trying to remember last time they were 6-1. They're good for Coach Kuntz. And again, at Tussey Mountain, I think that's a game that would be interesting to take in. And now we're going to get to our fun portion of the show. We're going to start first with Andy's line of the week.
Short steps. Short steps are better than long steps.
Okay.
Who did we pick? Because I know you were still talking about it on Sunday.
Well, yeah, I did say we were talking about the Bellwood BG game earlier. Yeah, I did say I would talk about that. And BG is my defensive line of the week. I went defense this week, and there's a reason for that. When you hold Bellwood to 55 rushing yards, 101 total yards, that is kind of eye-opening right there, because we know how good of a line Bellwood has, the offensive line that Bellwood has, and to shut down Bellwood like that, that's impressive. I know it was a 14-14 game with 2 minutes left, but hey, that's something to be proud of right there. So defensive end is Jake Kissel. I love a kid that can do pretty much everything on a
running back and a defensive end. Quarterback.
And a tight end.
Yeah.
Does he drive the bus? That's what I want to know. He's in charge.
We'll see. We'll
I don't
see.
know.
Yeah. Defensive tackle, Declan Peterson. Nose tackle, Jesse Georgiana. Defensive tackle, Rocco Casciati. And defensive end, Hayden Osgood. Also, Enzo Lascoli.
Who made our cool name a couple of years ago as a
Yeah,
ninth
yeah.
grade.
He also rotates at D tackle and nose. So congrats to those guys and good luck against Forest Hills.
And Mike's stat of the week. What do we have?
Referred to earlier, I'm going to talk a little bit about Everett this week because, first of all, their running back, Jacoby Harmon, he's averaging 221.6 yards a game so far this year. He has 1,551 yards rushing and 16 touchdowns through 7 games. So that's like among the leaders in the state and the nation. Also, Everett as a team has 6 wins this year, which is the same amount of wins the Warriors have combined for over the last 5 seasons. So, very impressive job by Coach Kuntz and Everett, and we'll see how far they can take it here in the District 5 playoffs.
And I'm always impressed that people know they're going to run. We've always talked about that with Bowen. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows Everett's going to run.
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm old enough, I remember when Brian Kuntz played in Northern Bedford in the 80s, and I used to cover Northern Bedford for the Maryland 8s. And that's what he grew up on. That's what he did well at Northern Bedford. That's what his team is doing well. So good for him on that one. And we're going to close up shop here. And incidentally, I forgot to tell the boys about this one because right before I got a Facebook notice with, I'm not sure exactly, but we are getting something from Penn Cambria.
Hey.
And I don't know what. He just sat there and said that he watched our show recently, so be on the lookout for something. So I don't know what that means, but I just, for some reason, I just popped into my head here right before we get to the cool name segment of our show. This week, we got Bedford and Clearfield, which is the Bison and the Bisons. And I don't know which one's which, and I don't care. I just don't care because it's too hard to remember. I have to ask these guys in the newsroom whenever I'm talking. Which one is which?
I worked at Clearfield when they made the switch. Clearfield used to be the Bisons. They're now the Bison.
Bison.
Bedford is the Bisons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearfield is grammatically correct.
See, I can never remember. It's like anyway. Our freshman, and I think this is the coach's son. He's wide receiver DB. His name is Bennett Steele. The Steele name is always going to get you. I just know the Bennett name I love because there's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called Commando, and the bad guy in it, his name is Bennett, and he's a bad dude. And I don't know if Bennett Steele's a bad dude, but I just think you have a cool name. And then Clearfield, freshman, I just like the sound of this one. Paxton Parada. Or it could be Parada. It's on your screen there, Dan will put it, but he's a running back linebacker. Paxton Parada. I just like the alliteration there. I like the sound. And that's what I'm going to say.
You just like that because Paxton Kling's on there.
Paxton Kling, former Central high school athlete star.
Texas Rangers.
He's in Texas Rangers farm system. Yeah. But I still like the sound. If his name would have been Paxton Smith, I wouldn't have picked that because that's kind of a, hopefully there's no Paxton Smiths out there being offended right now. But anyways, then write a letter to us or comment on our Facebook page. Okay. But anyways, that's going to do it for week 8. And we're not even in the October teens yet. We're done. Mm-hmm. What is it? October, not teens, whatever.
It's the 6th grade.
Yeah, but that's, well, don't let people know our secret. I want them to think it's fresh. But anyways, that's going to do it for us. For Mike, for Andy, for Dan behind the camera, I'm Scott Franco. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.